Keeping our eyes closed, preferable resting the hands onto our knees. Chin to chest, exhale. Right ear, right shoulder. Roll your head back, left ear, left shoulder. Exhale towards your chest. Then reverse the direction. Gently come to center. Fingertips in front of your shoulders, thumbs into the back. Inhale, lift your chin, chest. Bring your arms overhead. And then exhale, round. Have your elbows touch in front. So you round your upper spine. Inhale, bring your elbows above your ears. And back out to the side. Exhale and round. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. Engaging your entire spine. So ensure that you bring your elbows up above your ears. And then you arch. Exhale, bring the elbows above your ears. Move forward and around. Elbows touch. Let's do 3 more here. Last one. Keep your fingers in front of your shoulders, elbows. Now just keep this as an inhalation. Exhale, just close. Bring the elbows just together in front. Inhale. Exhale. Keep your head up, chin parallel to the ground. Last 2. Let's move to the side. Inhale left. Exhale right. Keep your elbows up. Don't move your arms at all. Keep the sit bones either on the chair or on the floor. And focus on opening up the physical body so that the energy, the prana, can flow freely, or the chi, the ki. There's so many different names for our life force. One more time to each side. Good, and then just come sitting with your, if you sit on the chair, just have your knees a little bit apart. Let your arms be loose, so there's no strain in your arms. And just swing, inhale left, exhale right. Everything is relaxed. Look over your shoulder. Ensure that you take your head with you. Last 10. Come to center. Just rest your hands on your knees for a moment. Feel the energy movement internally and the outer one actually in your auric field. Bring the arms up and out to the side first, and then diagonal. So my right arm is facing down, my left is facing up, and I just swing my arms backwards and forward. Last 5. Good, switch. Last 5. Perfect, good. Rest your hands on your knees, round your spine. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Keep your chin parallel to the floor. I think we lost our dear Nirmala. Oh, she will come back on. Make this posture really your healthy habit. Maybe when you're sitting at your desk, have your feet solid on the ground, scoop a little bit forward on your chair, then move your spine. Keep your spine always flexible and free. The last minute here. And all the organs actually benefit from this posture. Last 15 seconds. Inhale and arch. Exhale, come sitting straight. So if you sit on the chair, put one foot on the floor and the other leg is stretched out, and you will have your heel touch the ground. Yeah, so that let's all take our right leg out to the side. If you sit on the chair, your left foot is solid, touching the floor. Interlock your thumbs. And the thumbs in yoga, they stand actually for our ego. So we just want to get them a bit under control. So interlock the thumbs, keep your right foot flexed, arms hugging the ears, palms facing forward. Exhale, just lean forward as much as you can. Inhaling up. Keep your right foot flexed. Arms hugging the ears. Don't lose your ears here. Find a pace that is really working for you, where you feel like you're opening up. Let me see. Keep going. Let me see what's happening here for her. Something must be going on. Keep going. Last 3. Good, and then hold on to your toes or your lower legs. So now you're losing your ears, so to speak. Tuck your chin slightly. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. And allow for leaning a little bit more forward with each exhalation. Then walk your hands on your legs towards your leg joint. Come up sitting straight. We got Nirmala back. Good. Right heel to the groin or right foot onto the floor. Left leg is stretched out. Left foot is flexed. Palms are interlocked. Palms facing forward. Arms hugging the ears. Exhale. Pull your navel each time when you lean forward towards your spine. Last 3 repetitions. Hold on to your toes or your lower leg. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. Good. Walk your hands on your leg towards your leg joint. Have both legs stretched out either on the floor or when you sit on the chair. Arms hugging the ears again. And you just hold forward on the exhalation as much as you can. Inhaling up. Lean forward from your hips. Keep your spine straight. It's not about bringing your forehead to touch the ground. Just reaching forward. Inhale up, exhale, fold forward. And when you're on the chair, ensure that you're stable and safe. Last 3 repetitions. Good, and then we inhale up. The back of our hands touch. We exhale, we sweep through our auric field. For those on the floor, bring your left heel towards the groin, right leg in front. Otherwise, have your legs, your knees in alignment, feet solid on the ground. Come into Pran Mudra. Tip of your thumb touches tip of ring finger and pinky, index and middle fingers touch. And then you have this mudra in front of your solar plexus, but nothing touches here. They're separated, your hands. And we want to do the breath of fire. So equal in and exhale through your nostrils. Find a good steady pace. If you are uncomfortable with the breath of fire, you will just simply stick out your tongue and you pant like a dog, because then your body does it automatically, right? Interesting, Royce, yeah? So ensure that your navel moves towards your spine on the exhalation. Like, this will be a good pace. We want to purify our blood, increase our immunity, our alertness. And remember, if it doesn't feel right, if you feel like I'm confused here, stick out your tongue and go like. That works perfectly too. Just for 1 more minute. Energizing our body, our mind. We take a deep inhalation, we suspend our breath, we pull our perineum, sex organ, navel in and up, we hold it. And we exhale. I suggest you rest this mudra on your knees, palms facing up. You can have your arms fully relaxed or on your thighs and just hold the mudra. It will actually give you more life force. And then we are ready for Nirmala.
Thank you, Siddhi. Good morning, ladies, sweet ladies. I'm back in California. I escaped the ashram. It was lovely. Just a quick week. So one reminder of our gathering on June the 30th. I know several of you, many of you have RSVP'd, just so we have a sense of how many are coming. So if you haven't and you're joining us, please let me know. And we look forward to seeing you then. Today, we're going to talk about something that has come up many times in discussions individually, of what it looks like as we progress on our spiritual journey in terms of what's happening as an internal process. And so I want to talk about no thought, which is very different from emptiness, which is a really a practice of moving things out of you. No thought is simply about our mind, keeping our mind without any action. And it is one of the most impactful spiritual wellness practices that we can work with, because if we can harness our mental equilibrium and invite in no thought, then everything else shifts. If we watch ourselves and we see where we are coming into some sort of a reactive moment about something, it's always what's happening in our mind. It's what is our mind telling us about a situation? Are we unsafe? Are we in judgment? Are we unhappy? What's happening? And our mind is jumping through all these hoops about what it has judgmentally decided about the moment. And if we can harness that and keep it in a quiet space, even for just short periods of time throughout the day, we will change the whole equilibrium of our mind-body experience. So it's not a complicated process. It just takes a bit of intention and awareness. We have to changing the way we think is huge. When you can start seeing things through a different perspective, that's huge. But the greater step is going beyond the thinking at all. So first, we want to start with our attitude and with our way of imagining that there are many possibilities in every situation. And then we want to stop having any thought about that it's even we don't even have to manage it. We simply allow that no thought moment to be how we're sitting in a situation. And even when nothing's going on, we're just sitting. We don't have to be pondering or imagining into or defending or trying to create something. Out of no thought comes the most creative moments we'll have. So if you're in the process in your journey that you want to bring in more creativity and more spontaneous wisdom and knowing, the place to think of increasing and developing is in no thought, not to be actually trying to manage how we're thinking about something and being in a more educational mode of I'm thinking of this, I'm learning something. It's just not having any thought. When there is no thought, there's something that happens in our whole system that relaxes, something that relaxes, and we feel a deep sense of well-being, a positive mood that isn't triggered by our thoughts. So we start to move away from when am I feeling the most contented? When do I have a sense of peacefulness? We then attach that to a certain activity or a certain presence or a certain absence of something that's bothering to us. And that brings us into this mind of, am I in that place? And I cannot get to my happy place unless I have these certain conditions that are met. This is not new. We talk about this all the time. The quality that we're aiming for in this is meditative, but it isn't a meditation. You're in awareness that there is no thought happening. You're not trying to go someplace else. So you can manage this standing anywhere in the grocery line, picking up, some things that you need wherever, at Target, wherever you go, you can manage no thought because you still are operating with all of your senses and moving about. You're simply not allowing this dialogue that seems to be 24/7 in our minds to be going on. This is opposed to this meditative deepening is opposed to, say, a mindfulness practice, which is focused on actually being aware of where you are. So you're actually taking into account the sense and smells and sights that you're seeing around you, and you're focusing on those, which removes you from other random thoughts. That's very useful, but this is actually no thought for just seconds at a time. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute practice where you sit down and you try for 20 minutes to have no thought. That's really challenging. But it can be a way that we infuse our daily movement with just a few seconds or a minute of this sense where we shake our head and go, wow, I actually went for a period of time where there was nothing happening in my mind. It gives us a sense of well-being that goes beyond that moment because it gives rise to this restorative sense in our system. So the more that we use that as a tool, the more we decrease any angst or any agitation that's going on, even subtly in our system, and we start to lower, become more grounded and more available to wisdom, creativity, whatever is wanting to come through us, because there's no nonsense going on inside. There's not a disturbance. Our mind creates a disturbance that starts in our mind and follows in our body and then comes out in our actions and how we're speaking and how we're operating in the world. The mind has enormous control. We know that. So let's start practicing in small sips a way to have our mind in no thought and to notice that you're in no thought. This creates a practice of distancing us from our thoughts, which allows us that beautiful space of floating in between. We're not in a deep meditation where we have to be on a cushion and we need to be in a proper place and we need to have our surroundings in a certain way so that we can be uninterrupted. Being in no thought can be practiced anywhere, anytime, for for a minute. You're sitting someplace for a minute, just clear your mind and see if you can keep it empty without something coming in. I visualize actually in my mind when I'm practicing this, having sort of barriers up. When words bubble up in us, they start as a form in our subconscious and they bubble forward. They actually bubble up like a bubble coming into our consciousness. If you can catch it before the bubble has created an actual substance, you can stop it. So when I first started practicing, I just practiced that I was stopping the bubbles before they continued up. So that I wasn't thinking about it. I was just noticing when a word or I'm cold or I hear something, and then I would just push it back down. Just let it go. Let it go. And it doesn't have to bubble into an actual experience of a thought. And this develops this innate, our system knows how to do this. It is that we have been indoctrinated into constant movement and noise and chatter and clutter. So we have to back ourselves back up to allow this spaciousness of no thought to be our normal inherent reaction and movement to the world, rather than it being something special that we do over on the side. When we're in this space, it creates a situation where we're less triggered by things, because you have established this distance between you and your thoughts. So when somebody lobs in something that's uncomfortable, something that we don't like, then we don't actually have to react immediately, because we've created this spaciousness between us and that information. We always say, oh, take a breath. This is the whole practice of take a breath, 3 breaths, 10 breaths, whatever it is, before you respond. That's the same practice, except that you still will have things going on in your head of what should I say? How should I respond? We want to actually have no thought about that. Just stay quiet. Just stay quiet for a period of time. So I'm going to give you one micro practice that is useful for honing this tool, which we would like to do. So one practical way is to use nature as the portal, because most of us are hiking. We like to be outside. We like to be in our garden. We are really moved and impacted by nature, and we're connected to nature. So if we want to start, one place to start is using the sky. So the sky is ever changing. You can lie down on your chaise lounge or lie down on the grass and look up, or sit in a chair and look up. The sky is constantly in movement. There's something happening all the time. And it sort of is a lull, like you're on a ship and you're you're moving. There are these gentle waves. It can take you into a space of no thought as you're just observing it and not even commenting on it to yourself. You're not saying, oh, that sky is really blue today, or you're just feeling the movement and allowing yourself to get swept without using any words to describe what it is. No commentary, no explanation, no comparison, no prediction. Oh, it's going to rain today. Just allowing your connection to that space in the sky as a place to enter into no thought. There are many other possibilities in nature. You can do the same thing in a fairy ring of redwoods, or you can do it in, observing just a beautiful bud on a flower, but using nature as that portal. And we become awareness and consciousness rather than this individual that has these thoughts. So our tendency is to go back to being an individual and having very individualized ideas about everything, because that's how we're trained. And what we're trying to do is enter into the consciousness, which is the whole, which we are a part of. So allowing nature, just go out and sit for 5 minutes several times a day and just watch the sky. And just see if you can not let those bubbles bubble up into an actual formation of words or language, just allowing yourself to be gazing at what's happening up in the sky. And when you stop trying to interpret it, you're training yourself to be able to do that in other situations that are less peaceful. So we can choose the peaceful places because they're more easily accessed, and we can train our system how it can respond in any kind of a situation, not just the peaceful ones of sitting out in nature. Because we move in between. This is our dance, ladies. This is the dance that we want to learn how to dance really beautifully. The dance between having thoughts that are useful to us because we need to process something that has to be done. There's a time and a place for our thoughts to be used, and dancing between that and the space of no thought. It's not either or. We move in and out of it, but we have to develop the practice and the awareness of when we have the opportunity to be in no thought, and when we're just generating thoughts that are loops about something that keeps going over and over, rather than giving us an opportunity to step back from it. We only invite in thoughts when there's a situation that requires thoughts. The rest of the time, we can be in no thought. There's an enormous amount of time in our day where we can be in no thought. Aliveness comes in to our perception when our thoughts are stilled. Our thoughts dampen the aliveness. They dampen the place where we become inspired, because they're almost always judgmental or containing. They contain us. You can do this, you can do that. It looks like this, it looks like that. Always they want to give you some sort of container. And what we're trying to do is to blow out that container and become a part of the whole and enter consciousness as our normal state rather than in thought process. So one thing that Krishnamurti said that, which I thought was so beautiful, he said, the moment that you teach a child the name of a bird, she stops experiencing the bird. She starts experiencing what is believed about the bird and its label. The moment you give something a label, our thoughts are only about labels. So the minute we label something, we stop the fullness of the experience. Even teaching a child the name of a bird, now everything's labeled and it belongs in a box. And there's so much more to nature and so much more to the human experience than what exists inside of a box. Labels obscure the depth that's beneath us. Our thoughts obscure the depth and dampen the inspiration and the creativity that wants to come out of us. We have to learn how to sit in no thought for periods of time during our day, in and out of it, weaving it in and out of our experience. It's not either or. We want to have both. We have the capacity. We came in with amazing capacity for thinking things through, but it's when your thoughts are not working towards something that needs to have a thought process, when they're just randomly looping around something. So the affirmation for this week is, when I practice no thought, I reach a place of innate peacefulness. I'm going to put this in our chat. When I practice no thought, I reach a place of innate peacefulness. We want to be peaceful, ladies, and we want to access all that creativity that we can access and all of that wisdom that is already innately in us and surging through us. And that's waiting for the stillness and the quiet and the no thought to be able to come through. So let's practice no thought this week and see how that works.